Hello, 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 hello. Happy Friday. Yay, we made it. How are y'all doing on this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful day? Listen, we got a good one going on today. I say that every time, right? But I really think this one is good. Hello, hello, hello. Thanks for joining. Look, I want to start off this conversation with a question, and I want you to answer it, not just think about it in the that's interesting kind of way. I really want you to think about this question, okay? The question is, how much do you think you'd be worth? Not your paycheck or your title or your role, but you. How much do you think you'd be worth? Your knowledge, your skills, your experience, the accumulated years of figuring things out, getting it wrong, and eventually getting it very right. I'm talking about the problems you solve that no one put in your job description. I'm talking about the judgment you've developed that no training program taught you. If all of that were an asset on a balance sheet, what would that number be? What would that number be? Drop it in the chat. What's your number? What do you think your skills are actually worth? Because most women, most of us have never been asked that question. And if you have, you've never answered it in the way that you answered it in the way that we were all conditioned to answer it. And that's by looking at your salary. And that's the problem that I want to spend some time talking about in this episode. Because your paycheck is not a valuation. Your paycheck is a negotiated agreement between you and your job about what they're willing to pay to access your skills on their terms. It almost has nothing to do with what your skills are worth in the broader market. And it doesn't have anything to do with what someone would pay you directly and what they would gladly pay you a premium to access what you know. The number on your resume, I'm talking about the years that you've worked, all the results, the roles, the scope of your job, that all of that is telling a story that your bank account hasn't caught up to yet. And I want to spend the next, I don't know, these things usually last between 40 and 60 minutes. I want to spend that time changing that. Okay? Welcome back. Welcome back to another episode of Nick at Noon. My name is Nick Scott. I am the founder of Her Income Edit. We are an online education platform designed to help women turn their skills into coaching, income, digital products, and online businesses so they can earn more, depend less on traditional employment, and design life on their terms. If you haven't already, I'm going to invite you to go get your notebook and your pen or whatever it is you take notes on. I want you to share the link to this video in the group chat. I want you to text the link to this video to your biz bestie because we are about to get into it, okay? Hello, hello, hello. Thanks for joining. Okay, so I want to talk about your resume for a second. And that I don't want to talk about it as a job search tool. I want to talk about it as evidence. Your resume is a document full of evidence that you can solve specific problems for specific people. It is a literal, tangible record of situations that you walked into. It's a literal, tangible thing that demonstrates the challenges you've navigated, the results you've produced, the systems you improved. It is decades of applied intelligence documented and formatted in a 1 to 2 page standard. And what do most people do with that document? That's not a rhetorical question, y'all. What do most people do with their resume? Yep, they use it to apply to jobs. They send it to employers. They use it to compete for a spot inside someone else's organization. They condense their entire career into bullet points and hope that the AI recruiter scans it in 6 seconds and that that's about how long the research suggests that they spend on your resume, 6 seconds. And I don't want to make that feel bleak because that system has value and it will continue to have value because employment is real. Let's be clear. Careers are real. And the income that you make from these jobs and these careers and these employers, it's real. But I just want to take a step back and I want to ask, what else is that document capable of besides applying to jobs and sending it to employers? Because here's what I see when I look at a resume from a woman with 10, 15, 20 years of experience. I see a curriculum. I see a body of knowledge. I see a coaching methodologies. I see a consulting framework. I see a workshop, a course. I see the foundation of a premium offer that she could charge thousands and thousands of dollars for. And it is built completely from the things that you already know. Completely from the things that you already know. Hello, hello, hello. Thanks for joining. I see the love on YouTube. So, what is the skill on your resume that you've never considered charging for? I want you to drop that in the chat, whether you're watching live or the replay, because the disconnect here that I'm talking about, it's not a skills problem. It's a framing problem, because we were taught to see our experience as something that we bring to a job, to an employer, to our 9 to 5. We were taught to see these things as something that we can sell. We were not taught to see these things as something that we can sell directly to the people who need it most. And the woman who needs what you know right now, she's looking for you. She exists. She is out there right now Googling a problem that you solved 3 years ago. She is sitting in a job that she's overwhelmed by, or she's trying to build something and she's hitting a wall that you already know how to get around. And this woman who is looking for you, she would pay a premium for what you know. She'd probably pay more than what you think she'd pay. Now, I want to just offer you just a different way to look at this, because I want you to carry what I'm getting ready to say past today's live stream conversation. Your employer has been renting your skills at a discount. The rest of the market, it doesn't even know that that discount exists. So when you walk away from this conversation, I want you to stop thinking and looking at your career as your career history as a credential that you present to be hired. I want you to start thinking of it as a library of solutions that a specific kind of person would pay to access. That is the shift that I want you to make. That is the whole thing. And it changes how you're going to read your own resume going forward. So here's something that I want to just flat out just talk about, because I think it needs to be said. Women, we have been conditioned to undervalue ourselves in a very specific way. And it's not in an obvious way. It's not in a I don't believe in myself way, because clearly we believe in ourselves, but it's in a much more subliminal, more systemic way. And it shows up in how we price things. So when a woman with 20 years in finance decides to offer financial coaching or consulting, her first instinct is almost always to price herself at a rate that feels reasonable. She wants to price herself at a rate that won't scare anyone away, or something that makes her feel justified and something that she can defend, right? And that rate is almost always too low. In fact, 100% of the women that I have worked with in my coaching business have always priced themselves too low. Have y'all heard the story that I've told about Miss J? Go check out Miss J's story on my website at herincomeedit.com/ignite. So if you were to offer a service based on what you know, what would your gut tell you to charge? I want you to drop that in the chat or the comments if you're watching live on replay. And I want to talk about why that happens, because understanding it, I think that is the beginning and the start of changing this, right? So the first reason that we do this is proximity. And that is when you've been doing something for 15, 20, a decade of years, it stops feeling special to you, because it's just what you do. It's just what you know. It's normal. It's, if the table It's like, like this is just what I do. I woke up like this, right? So you assume that it must be normal and easy for everyone, and therefore it's not worth that much because you know what? If I can do it, lottie dottie, and everybody can do it, right? But that's not normal. It's just familiar to you. And there's a big difference between that. Okay. So proximity is the first reason why we underprice. The second reason is comparison because you spent your career in environments where your compensation was set relative to a pay band, right? So, whatever your band of pay is, there's a bottom in that band and there's a top and then there's everything in the middle. So, your career, that is how you're compensated. It's relative to a pay band. It is relative to whatever the market rate is or a peer group, right? So your frame of reference is for your frame of reference for what your work is worth. It has always been anchored to what an employer decided to pay you for. So when you go to price yourself outside of your job, your brain, it pulls that anchor, and that anchor was never really accurate. So that is the second reason why we underprice, is because we're comparing it. We're thinking about this thing in employee terms and employee mindset and not really entrepreneur mindset. We're thinking about it like, you know what? Well, I made X amount of dollars in my job, then I need to charge X amount of dollars for my offer, okay? So the third reason that we underprice is fear. And this is the one that I want you to think about, because this one right here is the most honest reason of all three. When you price yourself at a premium, you open yourself up for rejection in a very direct way, right? So someone is either going to say yes or no to a number that you put on your own worth. And it feels personal. It feels personal in a way that a rejected resume never quite does. You see what I'm saying? And here's what I want to just put out there as a counter to all of that. Because when you underprice, you don't actually avoid rejection. You just trade one kind of discomfort for another kind of discomfort. Because underpricing means overworking to hit your income goals. It means attracting clients who don't value the depth of what you're offering. When you underprice, it means that you're building a business that pays you less than the job that you were trying to supplement in the first place. And here's the other thing. Underpricing doesn't make it easier to sell. It often makes it harder to sell the thing, because the price you put on your offer, it communicates something. It communicates the value you believe that it has. So when you price from fear, people can feel that. They start to wonder, why the heck is this so low? They don't trust it. And premium pricing, it converts better in many markets than deeply discounted prices, because they match the expectation that the buyer already has. Here's the thing about pricing, y'all. Underpricing is not humility. It is self-abandonment with a professional polish. And the woman on the other side of your offer, the one who is looking for you, the one who desperately needs your help, she is not looking for the cheapest option. She's looking for the person that she can trust, that's going to actually help her. And your price, your confidence, and your positioning are all part of how she decides whether or not that person is you. Okay? Hello, hello, hello. Thanks for joining. Now, I want to introduce you to a concept that I call experience stacking. Experience stacking. And I think that this is going to open your eyes and widen your lens around this conversation. Okay, so let's talk about it. Experience stacking. Most people think about career experience as this linear thing, right? As a timeline, a linear timeline. So year 1, year 2, year 3, early career, mid career, senior career, right? It's a progression. It goes from less to more, right? But that's not how experience accumulates in your body and your brain, right? Experience, it stacks, it layers, it compounds. So here's what I mean by that. The thing that you learned in the third year of your career, it informed how you approach the problem in the seventh year of your career, right? So the mistake that you made, 10 years ago, it taught you something that made you, dramatically more effective in, today. And that decision that you had to make under pressure in your sixth year, the sixth year of your career, it gave you a steadiness that you have now that you can't even really explain because you just have it. And all of that, what I'm talking about, that stacking, all of that compounding, all of that layering, that lives in you right now. And it expresses itself as judgment, as pattern recognition, as the ability to look at a situation and know what's wrong and what to do about it faster than someone without your background ever could. And that's not a soft skill, y'all. That is a premium asset. So let me ask y'all another question. How many years of experience do you have? How many years of professional experience do you have? Drop it in the chat. Because at this point, I want to show you how experience stacking changes the math on a coaching or consulting offer, okay? So when someone comes to you with a problem and it falls right in your area of expertise, you're not just giving them an hour of your time. You are giving them access to the distilled, to the refined, to the tested, to the field-proven wisdom of your entire career's worth of learning. You're giving them the shortcut that took you years to build, okay? And the value of that is not measured in hours, it's measured in outcomes. It's measured in how much time you save this person. It's measured in the mistakes that they don't have to make because you already made them. It's measured in the results that they'll be able to achieve because you help them see the thing clearly. And when you price based on outcomes instead of hours, everything will change, I promise. This right here is the core difference between an employee wage earner model and a value-based income model. Because a wage earner prices her time, right? We're trading time for dollars. Whereas a value-based practitioner prices the transformation that you facilitate. And transformation, I'm talking about a real specific practical transformation that commands and demands a premium that hourly rates will never be able to catch up to. So I want to give you a concrete example, okay? And what I'm talking about with this experience stacking, right? Imagine a woman with 18 years in HR leadership. So she's handled everything from union negotiations to mass layoffs to DE&I strategy to executive coaching. She decides to start working with mid-level managers who are transitioning into senior roles and struggling with that jump. So if this woman prices herself at an hourly rate based on what she earned in her corporate job, she might charge $80, $100, maybe $125 an hour, right? And that sounds pretty reasonable. And it's also dramatically underpriced for what she's offering. So let's say she builds a structured 6-week program container that takes a senior level manager through the exact transition framework that she spent 18 years developing. She can price that package at $2,500, $3,000, $4,000. And that price isn't a stretch because it's a reflection of the 18 years of experience stacking that she's bringing to the table. This is the same person, right? The same HR person who has the same skills, but a completely different pricing model and a completely different income outcome, right? You've been pricing your hours when you should have been pricing your years. Okay? Hello, hello, hello. Thanks for joining. Now I want to talk directly about coaching as a second income stream, because I think there are a lot of misconceptions floating around that I want to address head on about this. When most people think about coaching, they picture one of two things. It's either a life coach with the aesthetic Instagram and the vague messaging about living your best life. No, that's not how it goes. It's living my how's it go? Living my best life. Hey, I ain't going back and forth with you. Living my best life. Is that how it goes? Or am I messing it up? So you either picture that type of life coach, or you picture the business coach with the 7-figure screenshots and the webinars about passive income, right? But here's the thing. If neither one of those versions of coaching feels like you probably decided in that moment that coaching wasn't for you. But that is very limited. Like those two visions, those two versions, they're very limited. And they're missing the vast middle ground where the most credible, most in demand, and most sustainable coaching work is happening. So the HR professional who coaches managers through high stakes people situations, coaching business. The healthcare administrator who coaches clinical staff navigating leadership transition, coaches. The teacher with 20 years of classroom experience who coaches the newer educators on classroom management and curriculum design, coaching business. The nonprofit director who consults with emerging organizations on program development and board governance. That is all coaching. It is all specific. It is all applied. It is all experience-backed coaching. And the market for all of that and more, that's just a handful of examples, is huge, and it's growing. So, next question. If you were going to build a coaching offer tomorrow, what would it be about? Let me know in the chat if you're watching live. Let me know in the comments if you're watching the replay. Here is something that I want you to consider. Coaching is one of the most accessible premium income streams available right now because the barrier to entry is your credentials. It's not a new degree. You don't need a certification to coach. In most domains, you don't need a certification. What you need is a track record of results and the ability to help someone else replicate your results. Now, let's be clear. There are certainly some niches here where credentials matter, where you'd want to get some additional training. And I'm not suggesting that you skip the preparation that's appropriate for your field. But in the broad landscape of professional and skills-based coaching, what you have right now is enough to start. And starting doesn't mean a fully formed and scaled business. Starting means taking one area of your skills and building one offer around it. One offer, y'all. And you price that offer at a premium, and then you sell it to a small number of people. And then you deliver the real results. That right there is a second stream of income. That right there is income diversification. That right there is the beginning of a financial life that doesn't have a single point of failure. And I want to be really honest with you about something else. Your 9-to-5 was never designed to make you wealthy. That's not what they're supposed to do. Employment structures and systems are designed to make you a productive and reliable person within that system and within that structure. So here's what employment does, and it's wonderful when it does it. It provides stability. They provide you benefits. They give you community. It gives you purpose, and those things are valuable, and I'm never going to dismiss it. But wealth and options, the freedom to make choices from a place of abundance rather than a place of fear, those don't come from one income source, no matter how excellent your job is. It comes from building multiple streams of income. And for skilled women, a coaching or consulting business built on your existing skills is one of the most natural and most accessible paths to do that. Here's the real deal. Okay? You are not starting from scratch. You're starting from all the years and the experience stacking and the evidence. That's what you're starting from. So, Hello, hello, hello. Thanks for joining. I see the love on YouTube. So, let me tell you what I built for you because this is where it all starts to connect. I created a micro course called 2K in 2 hours because I kept having the same conversation over and over and over again with women who had everything they needed to build a premium stream of income. They had the skills, they had the experience, they had the track record, they had the credibility. But one thing that was stopping them was knowing the specific steps to translate all of that into something that they could sell, right? So not the concept, the actual steps, the actual tangible, tactical, this is what you do step by step. And that's what 2K in 2 hours delivers. So in 2 focused hours of work, you will learn how to identify your highest value skills from your existing experience. I will help you cover how, I will help you structure I will help you structure your offer around those skills in a way that feels natural to you and compelling to your ideal client. I will help you price your offer, not from fear, not from comparison that we talked about earlier, but I'll help you price your offer from value. And then um, we walk through what that income stream can look like for you. This is not an inspirational micro course, y'all. It is an operational micro course. This micro course is for the woman who knows that she should be earning more. It is for the woman who knows that she has more to offer than her current paycheck suggests and reflects. This is for the woman who's ready to stop sitting on a literal library of knowledge and start letting all of that generate income for her. So you can get 2K in 2 hours on my website at herincomeedit.com/2K, or you can just click the link down in the description. And before I move on from this, I want to say one more thing. The price point of this micro course is intentional. I wanted this to be an accessible resource for women. Okay? And the thing about it is what you get inside this micro course, it is worth exponentially more than what you're going to pay for it, because what you can build with this, it can generate income for years. And I'm just going to be honest. I have been going back and forth with raising the price of this because of what the outcome is. But I still want it to be accessible. So if you've been thinking about getting 2K in 2 hours, I would encourage you to get it. I don't want you to wait, because the best moment for you to start on this was 5 years ago. The second best moment for you to start is today. So here's the thing about all this. You have been building something remarkable inside someone else's organization for years. You've been bringing your judgment, your problem solving, your leadership, and your skills. And you've been doing it for years and years. And that experience has stacked. Remember, we talked about the experience stacked. It's stacked layer by layer into something that the market would pay a premium for. Your resume is not just a track record of where you've been. It is a blueprint for where you can go. And the income your resume is capable of generating is a number your current paycheck has never and will never try to reach. You already have the credentials. You already have the skills. You already have the experience. The only thing that changes right now today is what you decide to do with it. The most powerful business that you'll ever build is the one you already know how to run. You've just been running it for somebody else. Okay? So with that, the link for 2K in 2 hours is down in the description, or you can just head to my website at herincomeedit.com/2K. And I want you to go build something that is worth your resume. Hello, hello, hello. Thanks for joining. Happy Friday, everybody. Listen, I want to thank each and every one of you for popping in and out of today's live. And if you haven't already, I want to invite you to click the subscribe button and turn the notifications on. I encourage you to share this episode with a friend who needs to hear it. My name is Nick Scott. This has been another episode of Nick at Noon. I am here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at noon Mountain Time, and I am dropping gems around all things strategy, tools, and mindset when it comes to building your coaching income, digital products, and online businesses. And if that is something that is resonating with you, join me for the ride. All right. Check out 2K in 2 hours on my website at herincomeedit.com/2K, or just click the link down in the description. Y'all have a wonderful, wonderful weekend, and I will see y'all in the next one. Okay?